Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're going to explore the brutal, highly logistical reality of illegal syndicates. Places where the pursuit of power literally turns a human being into a mere asset. We always hear these glamorized Hollywood stories of the underground, right? But today, we're stripping all that myth away. We're going to look at the cold, hard mechanics of how someone actually moves from the absolute bottom of a violent shadow economy all the way up to the terrifying top.
So picture this for a second. You've just knocked out the heavyweight champion of the world in some windowless Macau basement. You're standing there, adrenaline is absolutely pumping, and you're holding 40 grand in cash in a duffel bag. I mean, your face is probably more scar tissue than skin at this point, but there's a crowd of 500 people just screaming your name. In that specific split second, you really think you've hit the top of the world.
But then, out of the corner of your eye, you see the guy in the tailored suit standing at the edge of the ring. As you wipe the blood from your eyes, you notice something kinda chilling. He isn't clapping, and that's when it hits you. You're just high-yield machinery in this shadow economy where the stakes are literally life and death. As the quote says, you aren't just a warrior, you're an asset. Being king of the cage, it's not about glory at all. It's a completely cold, clinical game of high-stakes logistics and, well, survival. Which brings us to the million-dollar or maybe billion-dollar question. How exactly do you climb to the top of a shadow economy? We're going to track this dark progression together. It usually starts from sheer boredom, honestly. Like maybe it's a rainy Tuesday, and as a talented athlete, you realize that legitimate sports are just a slow, agonizing crawl toward a mortgage you're never going to pay off. So you realize your fists are tools that can create massive value out of thin air. And that realization drops you right into level 1, what they call the meat. At this stage, you aren't a legend, not even close. At level 1, you're basically invisible furniture. Your job is getting hit by made men so they can practice their combos. And get this, you do it for absolutely zero pay. Your ribs are constantly sore, you haven't breathed through your nose in 3 days, and you're crashing in a tiny room with 5 other guys. You're always hungry. Your actual day-to-day? Fetching water and scrubbing blood off the mats until they shine. And the whole time, you are being watched every single second to see if you have the discipline to keep your mouth shut while the bosses hang out in the back room. But hey, if you pass that brutal test, you advance to level 2, the street scrapper. This is where you finally trade those bloody mats for a shiny suit. You're not the punching bag anymore, right? Now, your job is the hustle. You're running small-time matches in empty warehouses, basically making sure the local bookies don't forget exactly who runs the block. You start feeling pretty important. But there's a massive catch. Every single Friday, you have to pay the tax. This is a mandatory fat envelope of your so-called winnings that goes straight into the hands of the senior lead who brought you in. It's the ultimate test of loyalty, and one you absolutely cannot afford to fail. Think about skimming a little off the top. If you try to hide even a single rounding error of that cash, you are stealing from the family. And in this world, thieves get reformatted really quickly. Or you just disappear completely. There's no HR department to complain to, and there are definitely no second chances. Survive that, and you hit level 3, the circuit specialist, where the raw physical violence fades into something much more complex. See, now you've traded street brawls for massive matches where just the entry fee is more than your dad made in a decade. You're no longer just a fighter, you're essentially becoming a magician. To keep the feds away, you have to master what's known as accounting gymnastics. These are crazy, complex financial maneuvers designed to make illegal betting money dance around and remain perfectly hidden from the authorities. So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, step 1, you set up a bunch of empty shell companies, LLCs in places like Wyoming and Delaware. Step 2, you zip those funds overseas to Cyprus. And finally, step 3, you completely ghost the purse in Panama. It makes the money entirely invisible to the IRS and to the supreme bosses above you. The whole operation just becomes a giant shell game. Which brings us to level 4. By this point, you've evolved into the matchmaker. You aren't pulling on the gloves at all anymore. No, now you're the architect of the war. A knockout isn't a physical triumph, it's just a calculated business decision. You're spending your days managing front companies, trucking firms, waste disposal businesses, all just to wash the circuit's dirty money. You're directing high-priced lawyers to create thick layers of insulation, making sure that if a fighter gets busted, the cops never find a paper trail leading back to you. You are literally playing chess with human lives, deciding who gets to live and who disappears. And finally, we reach the eerie, isolated peak, Level 5, the Underground King. Just look at how far you've come. You're no longer the meat, scrubbing blood off mats for $0. Now you are the father. You're a ghost who never touches a single dollar bill, never sees a drop of blood. Instead, you sit behind 7 glowing screens, tracking your dark portfolio. You whisper one single order to your underboss, and 3 days later, an entire rival circuit just ceases to exist.
But let's look at the actual reality of this existence. You are, for all intents and purposes, a prisoner in a golden cage of your own making. Think about it. You haven't walked down a normal city street without a 12-man security detail in a decade. You find yourself standing completely alone in your massive, empty 60-seat home theater at 3 a.m., and the only sound? The mechanical hum of security cameras tracking your every move. They stop when you stop, they follow when you move.
Because the true price of all this power is absolute, terrifying isolation. That raw physical violence from level 1, it's been entirely replaced by cold, calculated paranoia. Your daily routine now involves getting your car swept for trackers every single morning. You're swapping out burner phones weekly just to survive. And the crazy irony is, while building this so-called perfect world, you've completely erased your own identity. You are now the very, very expensive loose end. You're the only person alive who knows where every single dollar and every dark secret is buried, which means you are a massive walking target for literally everyone below you. In the end, the ultimate tragedy of this whole climb is realizing you don't actually have free will anymore. You're really just a number being moved to a different column on someone else's spreadsheet. You thought you chose this life, but the chilling reality is that this was the life that chose you. It's just a fascinating, brutal look at the real mechanics of the underworld, isn't it? If you're intrigued by the hidden costs of extreme power like we covered in this explainer, make sure to subscribe to Iron Gammon for more deep dives into the golden cages of the global elite. And hey, let me know down in the comments, if you had $1 trillion, what's the very first rounding error you'd buy? Thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll see you in the next simulation.